Jenny Dawson grew up with one unbreakable rule: never go against her brother Samuel. He raised her, protected her, and shielded her from every danger life ever threw at them. And because of that, Jenny learned to live quietly. A good girl, a people pleaser, someone who apologizes even when she didn't do anything wrong. Samuel, on the other hand, is fire, a rising hockey star with a temper, a reputation, and a personal rivalry that burned hotter than any game he ever played. That rivalry had one name: Xavier King, captain of the rival team, dangerously talented, arrogant to the bone, and too stupidly attractive for Jenny's own good. Samuel hated him. He hated his smirk, his success, his confidence, but most of all, he hated the way Xavier never backed down. Jenny had only heard stories. She had never actually met him until the night everything changed. The party. The collision of two worlds. Jenny wasn't supposed to be there. She didn't like crowds, she didn't like loud music, and she definitely didn't like hockey boys. But her best friend dragged her anyway, begging her to experience life for once. Jenny stood quietly in a corner, hugging her drink, trying not to look awkward. When a tall, broad-shouldered man brushed past her, she tried moving aside. He moved the same direction. She awkwardly whispered, "Sorry." He smirked. That smirk, that face, that stupidly perfect jawline. Xavier King. She froze. The man her brother hated more than anything was standing inches from her, staring directly into her eyes like he just discovered his new favorite problem. And damn, he was trouble. "You Samuel's sister?" he asked, leaning in just enough to make her heart jump. Jenny swallowed. "Yes. Please don't start anything tonight." That only made his smile widen. "Why would I start something," he whispered, "when I could start everything?" Jenny felt her pulse spike, and that was the first moment she realized something terrifying. The rule she lived by her whole life was about to break. The forbidden spark. Xavier was known for many things: breaking records, breaking rules, and breaking hearts. But that night, he didn't look at anyone except Jenny. Every time she moved across the room, his eyes followed. Every time she tried to leave, he somehow ended up in her path. Not in a creepy way, but in a dangerously magnetic one. And the more he talked to her, the more she realized something shocking. Xavier wasn't the villain Samuel made him out to be. He was sharp, bold, brutally honest, but also unexpectedly gentle. He asked about her life, her dreams, her struggles. And Jenny, who never opened up to anyone, found herself talking like she'd known him for years. She should have walked away. She knew she should. But the forbidden connection was growing. And Xavier felt it too. The problem? Samuel arrived. And the moment he saw them together, all hell broke loose. Jenny always lived in the shadow of someone else's rules. Her parents' expectations, society's image of a good girl, but above all, her older brother Samuel. Samuel wasn't just protective. He was a wall, a massive, unbreakable wall, built to keep Jenny away from anything that looked remotely dangerous. And nothing was more dangerous in Samuel's world than Xavier Hale. Xavier, the untouchable star of the hockey league, the man with impossible skills, impossible confidence, and a reputation sharp enough to cut ice. He and Samuel? Sworn enemies. Everyone in town knew it. Their rivalry began years ago, born on the rink, fueled by ego, and kept alive by every game where one tried to humiliate the other. Samuel hated Xavier. Xavier hated Samuel. That was the law of the universe. And Jenny, she accepted that law without ever questioning it, until the night everything changed. The party that broke the rules. Jenny wasn't supposed to be there. Not at that party, not in that dress, not in that crowd. But her best friend dragged her out, promising her one simple thing: tonight, you're living for you. The music was loud, the lights warm, and for once, Jenny felt free. Free from expectations, free from Samuel's shadow, free from the quiet life she never chose. Then she bumped into him. Not gently, not politely. She crashed straight into the chest of the one man she was never supposed to stand near. Xavier. His drink spilled. Her breath froze. And for one breathless second, the world forgot to move. He looked down at her, eyes sharp, amused, analyzing. The kind of look that could melt ice and set rules on fire. Jenny stuttered, tried to apologize, tried to back away. But Xavier leaned closer, a playful smirk tugging at the corner of his lips. "Relax, sweetheart, I don't bite, unless someone asks nicely." Jenny's heart nearly stopped. She wasn't used to this. Not this confidence, not this charm, not this danger wrapped in a smile. She turned to walk away, because that's what a good girl does. But Xavier caught her wrist gently, just enough to make her turn around again. "Wait, you're Samuel's sister, aren't you?" Jenny acted like she didn't hear him, pretended she didn't know the disaster that name would bring, but Xavier continued, softer this time. Didn't expect his sister to look this. He hesitated, eyes scanning her carefully. Alive. Jenny wasn't sure whether to blush or run for the door. The rivalry reignites. Before she could escape, loud voices erupted across the room. Samuel had arrived, and he saw everything. He stormed toward them, eyes burning, jaw locked. People moved out of his way like he was a bullet. Jenny tried to explain, but Samuel wasn't listening. He shoved Xavier back. Xavier smirked, the kind of smirk that says, "I win just by existing." Samuel growled, "Stay away from my sister." Xavier lifted his hands in mock surrender. "She bumped into me, man. Calm down. Unless you think she can't choose for herself." That sentence, that challenge, cut deeper than the shove. Samuel grabbed Jenny's arm, ready to drag her out of the party. But Xavier stepped forward, not touching her, not crossing a line, just close enough to make a statement. Maybe let her speak? For the first time in years, someone defended Jenny's right to have a voice. The tension in the room rose like the start of a storm. Samuel snarled, "She has nothing to say to you." But Xavier didn't look away. He looked at Jenny, only her. "Are you sure?" Jenny swallowed hard. She felt every pair of eyes on her. Samuel waiting for her obedience, Xavier waiting for her truth. And then, for the first time in her life, Jenny didn't obey. She didn't speak either, but she didn't walk away when Samuel tugged her arm. That tiny act, that single moment of hesitation, changed everything. Samuel froze. Xavier smiled, and Jenny realized something terrifying. Her life was no longer under her control, because her heart had just defied her brother. The night that followed, when they finally left the party, Samuel exploded. He yelled. He lectured. He treated her like a child. But Jenny wasn't even hearing him. All she could think about was Xavier's voice, his confidence, his challenge, the way he looked at her like she mattered. She lay awake that night, staring at the ceiling, heart still racing. She didn't want trouble. She didn't want chaos. She didn't want the war between Samuel and Xavier to get worse. But deep down, beneath every rule she followed, Beneath every fear she carried, she wanted something else. She wanted freedom. She wanted choice. She wanted a life that was hers. And Xavier? He was the only person who had ever looked at her like she deserved one. The chemistry they can't hide. Jenny tries to return to her quiet routine after the chaos Xavier brought into her life. But things aren't the same anymore. No matter how hard she tries to forget their first encounter, it replays in her mind like a scene she never asked to watch. At the university library, Jenny sits between piles of books, pretending to study. But her thoughts drift. His voice, his smirk, the way he stood too close. It annoys her, it scares her, and somehow, it draws her in. Just as she shakes the thought away, a shadow appears across her desk. Xavier, with that same infuriating confidence. He folds his arms, leaning forward slightly. Your brother's not around, right? Or is this illegal too? Jenny's jaw tightens. Go away. But Xavier doesn't move. He lowers his voice, teasing. Why? Are you scared of what people will think? Or scared of what you think? Her heart jumps. She hates that it jumps. Xavier studies her expression, and for the first time, something shifts. His arrogance softens. There's curiosity now, and something deeper he isn't ready to name. Before she can respond, a loud voice interrupts. Samuel. Jenny freezes. Xavier turns, eyes narrowing as he sees his rival approaching. The tension thickens. Two storms colliding in silence. Samuel glares at Xavier. If you ever speak to my sister again, I'll make sure you regret it. Xavier smirks slowly, stepping even closer to Jenny just to provoke him. Maybe she's the one who wants me to stay. Jenny's breath catches. Samuel snaps. She would never choose someone like you. For a moment, neither man looks away. Two enemies standing between the girl they both want to protect, but for different reasons. Xavier leaves with a final glance at Jenny. A glance that says more than words ever could. That night, Jenny can't sleep. The argument plays in her head over and over. Why did Xavier's words feel like they were meant for her? Why did her brother's anger make her feel trapped instead of safe? She steps outside for fresh air, only to find someone sitting at the curb. Xavier. He rises slowly when he sees her. I knew you'd need a break. Jenny crosses her arms. You're everywhere I go. He smiles faintly. Maybe that's not such a bad thing. Jenny looks away unsure. You don't know me. Xavier steps just close enough for his presence to warm the cold night. Then let me. The silence between them becomes a living thing, dangerous, magnetic, impossible to resist. Jenny should walk away. She knows she should, but for the first time in her life, she doesn't follow the rules. She stays. And Xavier? He takes that tiny moment of weakness and feels something he never expected. Not victory, not thrill, but something terrifying. He wants her, not the attention, not the drama, her. And that changes everything. Everything. Jenny thought things would calm down after the disaster at the ice rink, but she was wrong. Ever since Xavier carried her out of the locker room that night, something changed. In him. And in her. He starts showing up in places she never expects. At her coffee shop early in the morning, pretending he just passed by. At the library where she studies, sitting at the far end of the room, glancing at her whenever she turns her head. And even outside her house, leaning on his motorcycle, arms crossed, as if guarding the entire street. For someone who claimed he didn't care, he suddenly cares way too much. Jenny tries to ignore him, tries to tell herself that this is just some twisted game he's playing, a rivalry move to get inside her brother Samuel's head. But deep down, she knows that isn't the whole truth. Samuel's warning. When Samuel finds out Xavier helped Jenny that night, he completely loses it. He storms into her room, slams the door shut, and demands to know everything. What did he say to you? What did he do? Did he touch you? Jenny tells him nothing happened. But Samuel doesn't believe her. His voice breaks as he says, Xavier destroys everything he touches. He ruined my career, my name, my life. I won't let him ruin you too. Jenny has heard this story 1,000 times, but never in this tone, never with this much fear. She begins to wonder, what really happened between them? What truth is hiding behind this feud? But Samuel refuses to talk, and Jenny stops pushing, because the more she digs, the more she realizes she might not like the answers. The night they stop pretending a week later, Jenny attends Samuel's team party, a celebration for winning an important match. She forces herself to socialize, to smile, to blend in. Then Xavier walks in, tall, confident, eyes locked directly on her the second he enters. He ignores the girls trying to flirt with him, ignores the teammates calling his name, ignores the tension in the room. He walks straight toward her. Jenny's heart races, half fear, half something she can't define. He leans close and whispers, his voice low enough only for her to hear, "Stop avoiding me." Jenny steps back, trying to keep control. "You're my brother's rival, Xavier. You shouldn't even be talking to me." He smirks, that arrogant, infuriating smirk. "Then why do you look at me like you're waiting for me to talk to you?" Her breath catches. She hates that he's right, hates that he sees through her, and hates even more that she can't make herself walk away. The rumor that changes everything. The next morning, the entire team starts whispering. Someone saw Xavier and Jenny outside after the party, arguing, laughing, standing too close. The rumor spreads like wildfire. Samuel's sister is dating his rival. Samuel explodes. He confronts Jenny in front of the whole team, shouting that she can't see Xavier anymore. She defends herself, saying nothing is happening, but Samuel doesn't listen. He grabs her arm and pulls her away, yelling at Xavier that he's crossed the line. And for the first time in his life, Xavier doesn't fight back. He simply looks at Jenny with a softness she has never seen in him, a softness Samuel sees too, and fears, because in that moment, he realizes Xavier's feelings are real, and real feelings are dangerous. The break point. That night, Samuel locks himself in his room. Jenny hears him punching the wall, throwing things, cursing Xavier's name. She knocks, asks him to talk, but he yells at her to leave him alone. Jenny sits on the floor outside his door, hugging her knees, feeling torn between the two men in her life, her brother, who raised her, and Xavier, who sees her more clearly than anyone ever has. She whispers to herself, "I can't keep living between both of your wars." Inside the room, Samuel hears her voice break, and for once, he doesn't have the strength to answer. Xavier's truth. Later that night, Jenny finds Xavier waiting outside her house again. She tells him to go home. He refuses. "Samuel hates me," he says, "but not for the reason you think." Jenny asks what he means, but Xavier just shakes his head. "Your brother and I, we were supposed to be family once." The shock freezes her. What does that mean? What are you not telling me? Xavier steps closer, his voice barely a whisper. "There's a truth Samuel doesn't want you to know. And if you learn it, everything between you and him will change. Jenny feels her heart drop, because in Xavier's eyes, there is no arrogance tonight, no cockiness, no games, just pain. Pain that only the truth can explain. And Jenny realizes something terrifying. Their story is no longer a rivalry, no longer a warning, no longer a crush. It's a time bomb, and it's about to explode. The tension between Jenny and Xavier doesn't fade after the charity gala. It grows. It becomes heavier, sharper, and more dangerous, because now they both know the truth. This connection between them, it isn't a simple crush. It isn't attraction. It isn't rebellion. It's something deeper, something Samuel will never forgive. The secret meeting. The next evening, Jenny receives a message from an unknown number. Meet me at the lakeside rink. Midnight. Xavier. She hesitates. Everything about this is dangerous. Her brother would explode. Her reputation would shatter. Her heart might not survive what Xavier is capable of, but curiosity and something softer pull her out the door. She finds him standing in the middle of the empty rink, the ice glowing under the dim arena lights. No crowds, no noise, just him. Xavier watches her walk toward him and says with a low voice, "I need to understand why you're trying so hard to stay away, when your eyes tell me you want the opposite." Jenny freezes. No excuses left, no jokes, no walls, and Xavier closes the distance slowly, step by step. "I know you feel this," he whispers. Jenny's voice trembles. "It doesn't matter. My brother..." Xavier cuts her off gently. "Samuel has hated me since we were kids. He doesn't get to control my life. And he sure as hell doesn't get to control yours." The words hit her harder than she expected. For the first time in her life, someone is asking her what she wants. Xavier offers her his hand. "Come to the ice." And she does. For the next hour, he skates with her in slow circles, guiding her hands, steadying her as she slips, laughing softly when she panics. He treats her not like his rival's sister, but like someone he cares about. When she finally stops, out of breath, Xavier touches her cheek gently. "This is real, Jenny." She closes her eyes, terrified, because she knows he's right. Samuel's discovery. While Jenny's world is melting into something new, Samuel's world is catching fire. One of his teammates sends him a picture, a blurry shot of Xavier and Jenny skating together in the empty rink at midnight. Samuel snaps. He storms out of practice, drives like a madman, and waits at home for Jenny to return. When she walks in, cheeks flushed from the cold and from Xavier's hands, Samuel stands in the living room, fists clenched. "Tell me you weren't with him," he growls. Jenny freezes. Her heart races. She wants to lie, but she can't. "I was." Samuel's voice explodes through the house. "He is my enemy, Jenny. He ruined my career. He destroyed my team. He humiliated me. And now he's using you to get back at me." Jenny's eyes widen. That's not true. But Samuel doesn't listen. "You're done seeing him. I don't care how you feel. I won't let him wreck my family too." For the first time in her life, Jenny sees Samuel not as a protective brother, but as someone trying to control her. And it breaks something inside her. The fight that changes everything that night. Xavier waits for her message. She doesn't text. The next morning, she avoids him at school, at the rink, everywhere. When Xavier finally corners her behind the stadium, she can't meet his eyes. "Did Samuel scare you?" he asks quietly. Jenny shakes her head, but tears betray her. I can't lose my brother. He's all I have. Xavier steps forward, forcing her to look at him. And what about me? She swallows hard. You weren't supposed to matter this much. The silence between them is heavy, painful. Then Xavier whispers, if you walk away now, you're not protecting your brother. You're punishing yourself. Jenny shakes her head again, crying now. I don't want to hurt anyone anymore. Xavier touches her face, but she steps back. And that's when he understands. She's choosing fear. She's choosing safety. She's choosing her brother's anger over her own happiness. For the first time, Xavier feels helpless. If you want me to stop, say it. Jenny hesitates. Too long, too painfully. Xavier's voice breaks, barely audible. I guess that's my answer. He walks away, leaving her standing alone, heart torn between the boy she's falling for and the brother she's afraid to disappoint. The night both hearts break that night. Xavier wins his game with brutal, unforgiving energy, as if he's trying to skate the pain out of his system. Jenny watches from the stands, invisible to him. He never looks up once. And when she goes home, her pillow is soaked with tears. She thought staying away from Xavier would protect everyone, but instead it's destroying her, and she doesn't know how to fix it. The final weeks of the season arrive like a storm, one that threatens to destroy everything Jenny has built, everything Xavier has fought for, and everything Samuel is trying to protect. The arena is louder than ever. Reporters swarm the tunnels. Fans chant names. And somewhere in the middle of all this chaos, 3 hearts are on a collision course. Jenny is trying to focus on school and her internship, but she can barely think straight. Everywhere she turns, someone is whispering her name. Every time she opens her phone, there's another article about the scandal. Samuel Baker's sister secretly dating his rival, Xavier Hart. The world has figured out what she tried so hard to hide. Meanwhile, Xavier is playing the best hockey of his career, yet feeling the most lost he's ever been. Every goal he scores feels hollow if Jenny isn't there, secretly watching from the stands. Every cheer from the crowd feels empty if she's not the one smiling at him once the lights go dark. But Samuel, he's burning, not with hatred, not anymore, but with betrayal. He isn't angry at Xavier for being better than him, or for beating him, or even for being his rival. He's angry because the one person he trusted most in the world, his sister, hid something from him. For Samuel, loyalty was everything. And suddenly he feels like he's losing the only family he has left. The confrontation. The locker room explodes. It happens on a night nobody will ever forget. The team is getting ready for the biggest game of the season. Xavier ties his skates slowly, trying to focus, but his hands keep shaking. He knows Jenny is somewhere in the arena. Maybe scared, maybe alone, maybe hurting. Samuel walks into the room. Silence falls like a thick blanket. He doesn't look at anyone, just at Xavier. And then he says the words everyone was waiting to hear, "We settle this today." Xavier doesn't stand. He doesn't raise his voice. He simply says, "Then talk." Samuel takes 2 steps forward. His chest heaves. His jaw is tight. His eyes burn. You could have taken my position. You could have taken my spotlight. I hated that. But I understood it. He points a finger toward Xavier's heart. But why did you have to take her? The room freezes. Players exchange nervous glances. Nobody dares to breathe. Xavier stands slowly. I didn't take her. A pause. A long, dangerous pause. She chose me. The entire room exhaled at once, a ghost escaping the tension. Samuel closes his eyes like the words physically hit him. Xavier continues, voice low but steady. I tried to stay away. She's the one person I never wanted to hurt. But I fell for her, Sam. And she fell for me. A beat. I'm not your enemy anymore. Samuel looks shattered. Not angry, just heartbroken. Because sometimes losing to someone in sports is easy. But losing someone you love to the same man? That breaks a different part of you. Jenny's breaking point. While the brothers in rivalry confront each other, Jenny is pacing outside the arena, tears burning in her eyes. She hears the rumors. She sees the fans fighting on social media. Some support her, some insult her. Some accuse her of ruining both careers. She tries to breathe, but she can't. Her life used to be quiet, predictable, ordinary. Now she's the headline of a story she never asked to be part of. She leans against a cold brick wall, whispering, "Why did loving him have to hurt so much?" But even as she says it, she knows the answer, because love that changes your life is never simple, never safe, never quiet. It's loud, it's messy, it's terrifying, and yet it's worth it. Her phone buzzes, a text from Xavier. Stay where you are, I'm coming to you. Her heart stops. The game of fates, Xavier's choice. Xavier hits the ice with a fire nobody can explain. He skates like a man possessed, faster than ever, sharper than ever, unstoppable. Every shot is a message. Every hit is a confession. Every play screams, I choose her. The crowd roars his name, but he hears only one voice. Jenny's whispering in his memory, don't let fear decide who you are. And so he decides. Tonight, he plays for her. Not for glory, not for revenge, not for rivalry, for her. When he scores the winning goal, the arena explodes. But Xavier doesn't celebrate. He skates off the ice and runs straight out of the tunnel to find the woman waiting for him. The heart meets the heart. The confession scene. Jenny stands under a flickering hallway light, hands trembling, eyes still wet. Xavier steps toward her. No helmet, hair damp, breathing heavy, heart exposed. He doesn't ask permission. He doesn't search for words. He just says, I'm done hiding. Jenny swallows hard. Xavier, everything is falling apart. He takes her hand, cold at first, then warm in his grip. Then let it fall. We'll build something better. Her breath catches. But Samuel will forgive you, Xavier says gently. But I won't forgive myself if I lose you. Her heart cracks open. The tension, the fear, the longing, all of it finally melts. And Jenny whispers the truth she's been terrified to admit. I don't want to lose you either. I want to lose you either. I want to lose you either.